my dear chess aficionados out there in the world. How are you? Jak się mamy? ¿Cómo están? I don't know Norwegian, so sorry. I bring to you the game, the blitz game that won it for Magnus Carlsen, and this is how he won the Charity Cup. I mean, he had to win this game to win it, and he did. And against Jan Krzysztof Duda, but it was a fight. It was like those roosters fighting, you know. The first round Magnus won, and then a comeback by Jan Krzysztof Duda in the second round. I'll bring you some of those games later on, but I wanted to bring you the game that brought it home for Magnus Carlsen. It was a tough fight, and kudos to Jan Krzysztof Duda, who gave him a run for the money, as they say, made it entertaining. That's what we want. You know, we want chess not to be boring. We have players out there, high level, like Jan Krzysztof Duda, that will challenge Magnus Carlsen. Again, remember, Jan Krzysztof Duda, very young player, 23 at this point, and Magnus being 30. That's 7 years younger, you know. So kudos to him, the being younger and the pressure and everything else on the world stage, to be able to hang on like this. It's great. So hope the Polish fans out there appreciate him and not beat him down. Okay. And so again, Magnus Carlsen makes a point that he is the world champion, and he grits and digs deep when necessary. He has a pretty strong support system also, so it's not done alone. To continue being on top, you got to have your people working continually for you. But in the end, he has to bring it, and he did. So he won the Charity Cup. Ukraine situation is very tense. Please pray for Ukraine. And I know, hopefully, most of the world still believes in God, so please pray. Every prayer counts, because things are so disastrous. You think that in this century you would have not have to go through what World War I, World War II, and everything else was going on, and the chess that's been interrupted. And once again, chess is interrupted. We have some Russian players that are not going or not appearing, and so yeah, so that kind of throws a curve into everything. And one man should not have that much power in the world to destroy everybody else. There's got to be something else done in Russia to be able to not have the people suffer, and some sort of change has to happen where Russia has to become a little bit more democratic and not starve people and do all this stuff. Anyway, you came here to look at the game. Sorry, I'm long-winded, but this is my small opportunity to speak about a situation. And this Charity Cup was for gathering money for Ukraine cause, UNICEF. Hopefully they will do a good job and not spend it on administrative fees, but on actual children that are suffering and everybody else that's suffering, that has to deal with this really unprecedented time in the world. Very dangerous too. Okay, why don't they just play a chess game, instead of using guns and killing children and pregnant women? Anyway, there's no respect for human life at this point. It doesn't look like it. So hopefully somebody will come to their senses. And Putin does have children, so maybe he'll think about that, how a nuclear war would affect his own children if that happens. Hopefully it does not, and it should not. So there are restraints, and hopefully those children will figure out a way to move the way towards peace, and everybody else that's working towards peace, because this is very sad and traumatic and tragic to see it again in our own lifetimes. Okay, so here we go. E4, C6. I'm just gonna go with a very quick game because it was a blitz game. Okay, right here. It was a French classical system. And instead of this move with the knight, it should have been right here. The F4 would have solidified a little bit White's position. So, too much creativity doing a blitz game. I don't know how good that is because it is a blitz game. So that is one master's comment here. Instead of moving this knight, it should have been F4. Okay, solidifying this position in the middle. Okay, here we go. Now it's f4. What I see here is, look how quickly Magnus is able to castle. Look, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that are not in play. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, so there's always, it almost feels like a loss in tempo again. There's like, he's targeting, you know, he's moving out with his pawns while Magnus is moving out with his pieces faster. And this is a blitz game, so it's a quick game. Okay. They're both moving in with their knights, you can see. Okay. This one just swallowed a rook, and this one is threatening and a checking. Look, see, this one just took, while this one didn't just take. So it's more precise. I see Magnus is able to hone in on higher level targets. You know, like in a war game, you're honing on higher level targets, and check is much higher than just taking a rook, right? So he's targeting his knight to go for a check, okay, and also a fork here. So the target here seems to be more direct in higher level targets. Somehow he's able to see that, you know, over time, and that's the genius of Magnus, that he's able to, even though these seem similar moves, they are not, because this knight just took a rook and this knight is a check and is threatening, but at this point he will be taken. Okay, so he just takes this knight. Okay, look at this, cutting off the movement of the king right away. Is Jan Krzysztof doing the same? Is he cutting off the movement of this king? I don't see it. So there's more of precision here, much more a direct, precise, sharper level of play. Okay, he's closing in on the king, but it's this is a very interesting moment. Okay, so he is threatening this rook with a check, or if something else happens here, he can take, if the king moves, for example, somewhere, he can easily take this undefended bishop, while this one is staring at this bishop, okay, trying to get rid of it. Okay, I understand what's going on here. Want to get rid of this strong bishop here. All right, so what happens next? Okay, so we are attacking now the queen while he's checking the king. See that? You see this long range movements. So that's another thing. You got to be aware of long range movements, and this is blitz. So you got to be like, the vision is deeper and the sharpness is sharper. You know, with Magnus's play here. But this has been 4 hours, and it's also really hard to keep it up for 4 hours. So for such as the stamina is there. The stamina has to be. But Jan Krzysztof is a young guy. So there should be basically an equal physical strength, I would assume, to be able to continue the brain strength. Okay, so he moves the king. He eats up the bishop. We take. And then he takes a pawn with a check. So now look at who's on the run. The white king's on the run. Is the black king on the run? No. So there's some sort of, you know, the coordination of pieces I've always seen Magnus have a very good ability to do, like almost without thinking. And a lot of time you have to really think how to coordinate your pieces. Yeah, somehow he's so good at it that his subconscious mind is able to coordinate the pieces like an orchestra in a better fashion. Okay, we take. Okay, we are moving up, also closing in. And this is where Jan Krzysztof Duda resigned. Okay. So basically, we're finish this up, and how would you finish this game? And this is how the last game, Magnus Carlsen in black and in blitz, and after 4 hours of play, is able to bring it home for the Charity Cup. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Hit like and subscribe. Please support how you can the situation in Ukraine. with prayers and with donations to the proper places, especially Poland, who has so many refugees. And I think there's a Caritas, Polska Caritas. Go there and you can find a way to help. Thank you so much. Hit like and subscribe. Au revoir.